Hello everyone, my name is Watchin and welcome to my first video of Inazuma 11 Cross, the new released game of Inazuma 11. Today in this video I'm going to explain a bit about how the game works, sort of like a beginner's guide, with also asking the question if the game is good, is it bad, and what you can expect from it. So before I begin this guide, I want to make sure one thing is, there are like two warnings that I want to give before you start playing this game. The first one is that if you're planning to play this on an emulator, it will not work. I tried playing on an emulator like BlueStacks and the game will just detect that it is a emulator and it will just boot you off. So if you want to play the game, unfortunately you cannot play on an emulator. So that kinda sucks. The second warning that I want to give you is that when you are going to play this game, you want to make sure that the world that you're picking is correct, because when you pick your world, your account is locked to that. And as of this moment, I don't believe there is a way to make sure that that you can change it or anything like that. So if you need a recommendation of what kind of world you want to pick, you want to pick world 20. And the main reason why is because it's kind of accepted in the community that this is sort of like the international server. So this is where every non-Japanese player is going to be. So every English player, French, Spanish, Italian, even Dutch I guess, they're all going to be on there. So if you want to pick a world, go for world 20, because that's where everyone is going to play non-Japanese. So I forgot to mention one more thing after recording, and that is that after the tutorial you will be put into a tutorial banner. And you can reroll this every time basically. And you can get like a 3-star every 10 pull, that's guaranteed at least. I believe the rate of the banner is, for 1-star is an 85%, then 2-star is 50%, that's at least from 1 to 9, and then for the 10 pull is always going to be a 3-star. And the 3 stars as of this moment are Tachimukai, Sumoyoka, Kido, Goenshi, Kabiyama, Kazemaru and Endo. If you want to pick the best one, I highly recommend picking Goenshi, Tachimukai or Kabiyama. Those three are very good, but if I had to pick one of them, it has to be Goenshi because he is currently the best striker in the game. Tachimukai is a very good goalkeeper and Kabiyama is amazing at shot blocking. If you want my advice on who to avoid, it's gonna be Kazemaru. Kazemaru is horrible as a defender. He only has dribble moves. His dribble is okay and he just does not work at the moment. You need to fix him with giving him a defensive manual, and it has to likely be a shot blocker because shot blockers are very overpowered in this game and pretty much necessary. So yeah, that's basically it. I also highly recommend that you keep rerolling until you also get some 2-stars that you can use. I recommend getting between 3 to 5 2-stars, because then you can have a pretty good beginning in the game. That's about it. So with that out of the way, we can finally start with the game. And you're going to see a lot of things when you start off the game, as you can see. So as you can see here, you might see like your players training, as you can see. But you can also see a lot of other buttons. You might know some of them if you played other Gacha games. But we're going to start with one of the first ones, being the middle button. And this is sort of like your main game mode. This is sort of like the game. And what you're going to see here is that at the top, you're going to see the story mode as first. So like the new manager. That's story mode. The second one that you're going to see as of this moment is Fubuki and Hiroto. And this is basically an event that you can play right now. So the left button is sort of like the event mode, which is just a couple of matches that you can play. I believe it's just 11 versus 11. You can also see like 3 buttons on the side. So the big one on the right, that's sort of like a connection map, which I will talk about later as well. But if you click on that, you can see that there are a lot of matches here. It's usually a rotation between 5 against 5 and 11 versus 11. You just can do that, you know, and you can just like get a new player because of it. It's basically just like a free-to-play player that you can get. Some of them are good, some of them are not that good, but we will talk about that later at the moment. Yeah, just so one of them, like the 5v5, is just for crystals or like diamonds, and the 11 vs 11 are for the upgrade parts of the free-to-play player. So once we go back, you also have like a middle button, and this is sort of like the mission mode, as you can see. So the first one is Dailies, the second one is, I believe, Weekly, and the third one is sort of like the general quests. So you can see I already completed a lot of them. And then the third one is going to be the event shop. And there are a lot of good items. Some of them are cosmetics, some of them are tickets, moves, etc. So pretty good. I highly recommend taking advantage of that, because there are some pretty good stuff in there. So once we go back, you also see a lot of other buttons that you can see. So the first one you see is sort of like this chain one with like the dark background. And from what I can gather, so this is sort of like a challenge mode, sort of like a power mode. At the moment it's currently a goalkeeper, and then what you want to do is that you kind of want to test the power. I believe so far we had is goalkeeper and defender, or well, maybe also I think it was like a defender. It was more of like someone with like a shot. So what you want to do is that you see like 5 players, and you might see some change, but the change are pretty important, because when you click on that blue button above your players, you can see sort of like certain players that are selected. And most of them, they kind of get like this buff. I believe for this one, that you see here, is their fire moves are getting stronger. And you also get a little bit more kick power, or at least like a power to the move. So you definitely want to make use of this. So far, some of them are not available at this moment, or are very late. So as you can see here, I already got some. So the chains are very important, because when you have, when you select the bonus players that you saw, they can basically like chain against each other, and this will give them more power. So I highly recommend doing that. And if you can't do that, then you kind of just want to pick a player that is at least like somewhat okay against the goalkeeper or like the forward that they are shooting or blocking against. So for example here I got Someoka. So yeah, so basically do that. So aside from that, they also got this middle one. This is by far one of my favorites. It's sort of like a limited battle, and as you can see, you got a lot of like different like endos walking around, but you're kind of like restricted to the type of players that you can use from a team. So like you can see, like you got Raymond, you got Royal Academy, Inazuma Japan, but you also got like multiple ones, as you can see here. Like occult, you can only use occult and otaku players, but also certain player types. So this is also very important. I believe at this moment there are not a lot of players, so the player types are going to be very important. So it's a lot of playing, you know, you can get like some cool rewards, like coaches, you can get some tickets that you can use on summoning banners. But yeah, that's sort of like the main thing. The third one that you can see is sort of like a PvP. And what happens is that if I press the button, you can also see like you can see like what kind of teams that you can play against. You can see like the power that you have, and it's sort of like, you know, easy, medium, and hard. And that's about it. The PvP also is just the AI of the opponent's team playing against you. So that's sort of like the thing that's kinda happens. So that's kinda sucks. Kinda depends on how you're looking at it. So there's not really PvP, it's just more like the AI is playing the opponent's team. And then finally, you got this connection map thing. And these are basically sort of like the connection maps of what I just said earlier with the event, which are also a lot of random players that you can get. I highly recommend doing them, because some players that you can get in here are pretty good. I know Miles over here, as you can see here, is pretty good, like a pretty good defender. Millie over here is also a pretty good one. I believe she's mainly used to drain the goalkeeper's TP. So if they don't have shot blockers, I highly recommend doing so. And of course, here at the top, you also got Genda or King, and he's also really good. So I highly recommend using him as well. So that's kind of it. I will show you a match sort of like how the game will work. So I'll just pick a random one, like let's say like this one. I don't know if I can clear it. So this is sort of like your team selection. As you can see, you got like your elementals. As you can see, if you slide to the left, you can see the opponent's team. As you can see, with like the stars and levels, that kind of stuff. But aside from that, there's not really much you can do. So from here, you can just select the left one, and you can see like all the passives that are active of like every player. Then you also got like the back numbers if you want to change that. And then you can also pick the kit here. So if you don't know how to pick your kit, here it is. The middle one is sort of like an auto team builder. It's okay for the beginning, but later it's going to prioritize sort of like your coach and what type of players that are the best for them. But there's also a lot of high rarities. So in the beginning it might be useful, but later you need to research your players a bit more. I'm going to change one player, so as you can see I just tapped one player. And then I got just to pick any player, so here I just choose Fubuki or Sean. And at the bottom you can see sort of like an option. So the best way I can remember this is that if you see like a dash here, then it basically means that it is autoplay. So the AI will display for you. And if it doesn't have like a dash over here, so right now, then it's just like manual play. So I'm just gonna play a match and show you how it's going to work. So it's going to be like 2 speeds that you can select, which is fine. You can also put it back on auto with the left button in the moment. And then on the right you can just go to the menu and see what you can select. So as you can see, I don't really control the player at the moment. But so that kind of sucks. But you can use the moves that you can use on the player. So here I just use the Satsu, like Illusion Ball, and then it goes on. Unfortunately, you cannot really pass, so the AI is very dependent. So one time it can suck, the other times it cannot. So it's just a bit of RNG, unfortunately. So here I'm just gonna shoot with Fire Tornado, well not Fire Tornado, I mean Fireball Screw. And let's see if I can score. Now, of course we got shot blockers, didn't work. If a shot block doesn't work, then it will just remove a little bit of power off the shot. So for example there it could be like from like 8k to 7k for example. So right now I can just not really do anything, so yeah, it's just a lot of AI. They just shoot right now. So here's basically what I was talking about shot blocks. So if you just use the left one like in the top, you can just let it slide if you think that your keeper can just take it, or it's just like a waste of TP. But I'm going to shot block. As you can see, it did not work, but it did drain some power. It went from 8k to 6k. So now, right now I can just use like a normal catch or a Hisatsu catch, which I'm going to use. So it worked. Another Hisatsu, like the other one is just normal dribble, so. But this team is pretty strong, so I'm not gonna use it at this moment. So I can just dribble again. It did not work. And yeah, usually for like a lot of these story matches, it's gonna be one half, like the first half and then the second half, which are basically like 2 matches. So if you did not score in that half, you have to do it all over again. I'm not gonna do that at this moment. So I'm going back, and oh yeah, and also another thing is that if you like, there are 2 buttons on the bottom. So the first one, like on the left, that's basically sort of like a selection of like the chapters, or in the connection maps case you can just swap map if you want to. So now we're going to the back and we're going to explain a bit more about what everything does. So here in the top left, this is sort of like your total team power, just like all your players in total. If you select the logo at the top, this is sort of like your profile, to say the least. And you can see like I'm not sure what this technically is. I think it's just like how far you are with like the connection map, or how far you are with the story. And then you of course got like your player ID, your name, your team name, your description, total team power, guild as well, or club. Then at the bottom you got your 5 core players, which are very important later, as I'm going to explain. And then if you click this button, you can just select your name and that kind of stuff. This is sort of like your achievements, I guess. So if you want to show off achievement, you can do this. And then of course your favorite player, and if you want to, like your team logo. Now you also got here this sort of like your friendship, which I'm going to explain as well. This is sort of like a bunch of information, sort of like shots or anything like that. But yeah, we also got like this button over here, as you can see, if you want to see like your background footage, I guess, if you just want to talk about something. Then you got menu. A lot of them are very explanatory, like the left one over here is just your mail, where you get your items. You got presents as well. These are just like login bonuses, so I recommend just doing them every day. And then on the right you got like your announcements, and as you can see, like the left one is just sort of like about banners and events and that kind of stuff, and then the right one is going to be about basically like announcement, like bug fixes or issues, that kind of stuff. Then you got like a lot of other buttons. I believe like the left one over here is just like what we mentioned earlier. You got your bag here. The only uses of the bag that I currently saw is basically using items. So if you want, like, you can just press like the 1 hour ones, you can just select it, and then you get items. So that's pretty neat. They are based on the simulation, which I will talk about later as well. So I'm going to show that as well. So yeah, like a lot of other items. This is sort of like a thing that I highly recommend doing this. So you kind of got like your own code, but you can also put in the code of someone else, sort of like a referral code, and then you can get Fudo or Stonewall. So I highly recommend going to like a Discord and looking for someone that also started, so you can get this pretty good player. I highly recommend him. Then you got like, you know, your sort of like a tutorial or like, you know, guide on if you want to know stuff. Middle one is about feedback, and then you got like your options. Now a lot of them are sort of like, you know, your like 60 FPS, how high you want to be, you want quality. It kind of depends on your phone that you have or tablet. I don't know, I think it's sort of like a reset button, so if you want to, then go ahead. Now what I highly recommend you to do is that you see this button right here. So what you want to do is you want to tap that, and then it's going to show you about like level 5 ID or something like that. You want to sign in with either your Google or Apple account, and this is mainly because we're going to talk about this later, but this is important if you want to buy or claim free items from the store or web store, which I will talk about later as well. So I highly recommend doing that if you want to claim that, because if you don't, then once you log in on the web store, you are going to encounter an error. So don't make the mistake like some people did. So right now we got some buttons over here. You got like the main manager. This is sort of like a step event, I guess. So like every day one gets unlocked. I already did some of them, but at the end you can get like a 3-star Kazemaru or Nathan. As mentioned earlier, Kazemaru really sucks as a defender. So unless you have like a defender move that you can give to him, he's not that great. Not even as a midfielder, he's just not that good. So eventually we also got some buttons on the bottom. So this is like sort of like your phone one. There's sort of a story, but also like this one over here, you get some matches from time to time, and it can give you some items. So I highly recommend doing them. So then you got this button over here, which is sort of like the club manager. So already in one, but if not, then you can just select one. Some clubs are you can just join right away, and others you need to request it. So then you got like the chat over here. So if you want to talk with like people over here, then you can do that. You also got like world chat, but a lot of them are just like in Japanese. So I also see like some of them also like channels. So if you want, you can pick them. So the first button, as you can see here, is sort of like the benefits of the club that you're currently in. So a lot of them are just like passives or gaining some sort of stuff. The second one are just sort of like your tasks. So the first one is your dailies, while the second are your weeklies. You can see like how many days you have left to do them. You also get like rewards from it, and these are important for the store, so I highly recommend getting them. So you can also like check here, there's some stores. So the first one, but yeah, you can kind of just change what you want. So here are like your simulation stuff. Oh, it's not simulation. It's the one with like the change stuff. So you can get like upgrades here if you want to. pretty good. So here, for example, if I want to, I can get Axel, for example, if I want to improve him, which I might do as well. So second one is just for guilds, you know, you can get like tickets, moves, slots for it, etc. Third one is for PvP, which I mentioned earlier. Fourth one is sort of like the stuff you get when you pull. And then the fifth one is sort of like event tickets, where you can gain your free players. You can, as I mentioned earlier, you can see what you want, you know. The best ones here are Tachimukai and Kabayama, maybe even Kidu if you want to, if you have both. And then on the right you can guys see like your guild members. These are sort of like, you know, how well you do for each week. So the more you do, the more stuff you get. So it is encouraged to do your stuff. And also like this red button over here, it's basically sort of like a leave club button. So if you're done with your guild, yeah, you just need to, then you can just search one-on-one. Quick shout out to these players, by the way, if they even watch this video, I guess. Then you get sort of like this present button over here. These are like your dailies over here. Then you got your weeklies, and then you got like your global stuff. So here I just claimed one. And then here on the fourth one, you can select your, it's sort of like a seasonal pass or like battle pass. These are sort of like your battle pass things that you can get. So as you can see here, you can just claim your dailies and your other stuff. These are weeklies, I guess, so you can do them. If you want, you can also buy your ranks, but very expensive, so unless you really want this item, you can kind of go for it, but yeah. Then on the right you got this huge button, which is sort of like the simulation, as you can see here. And as you can see, you got a couple of items, but sometimes it kind of just doesn't really do anything. So what you want to do is, you want to press this button right here, and you want to click this option on the bottom. And this is because when you select this one, which I will show you right now, it will basically just autoplay for you. So when this match is over and it wins, then it can just continue to the next one, and then it keeps going until eventually it's like we either drawed or we either lost. And then the more you do, the more passive stuff that you get, like resources per hour. So on the right you can see your like how full it is. It goes until 24 hours, so after 24 hours you don't need to get some stuff. Then you get sort of like a fast acceleration, which is just one free one, get like a daily free one. And then here you can also just like pick more of them if you want to, but I don't. So now we can get to the sort of like the main ones that I want to show you. So on the left you got your club room, for example, or like your personal room. You can just decorate your room if you want to. So like here on the bottom you can select like your plushies or trophies and that kind of stuff, like mats and banners. What you want to do is that you want to hold it and then hover over it and then let go, and then you can just like change it. So just high and the same for this one. Then you got like your store, as I showed you earlier, and then the home button on the right. What you can also do is to sort of like, you know, if you want to like if you just want to look at your players, you can do that. You can change camera as well for like your other players that are in your team that you have. So here you can see like Maxwell and Kevin talking to each other. So that's kind of it. I think there's also like sort of like a ranking like over here, but I don't think it changed that much. I think it just shows you like how much money everyone spends. So yeah, that's kind of it. Then you got like the awarded one, like the t-shirt one with the number 10, which is your most important one. This is sort of like your team building, or like team building, as you can see here. Now the one in your sort of like the 5 that you select, those are going to be your important players, like your core players. And what you want to do is you want to upgrade them like by 10 levels. So like every 10 levels you could just kind of quit until you kind of continue. So like everyone's going to be level 10, then everyone 20, then 30, 40, etc. But the cool thing is that when you are the 5th player, and when you upgrade them, as you can see, like everyone's like level 97. If I go for like more upgrades, and then like, yeah, I can just select like upgrade them, like you can need that stuff too. I go back now, and you can see like everyone is level 100 right now, and that's because the 5 core players are the level 100, then everyone is level 100. So you don't need to like level every player, so everyone is gonna be skilled, which is completely fine. As you can see here, like every 10 levels you need like chocolate milk, for example here. So what I highly recommend you do is just go for the best players first here. So Axel, for example, is like the best one, and now I can't do it, for example. But let's look at Axel, for example. So as you can see, you got like a lot of stuff here. In the like you can see like his origin, like what team he is from. What kind of player he is and what game he is from. Then you get like his TP and how fast he is and like shot power, etc. Level, power, rarity, for example. You can also upgrade his rarity here if you want to. So far I don't. I think I picked the wrong one. Yeah, I think I picked the wrong one. I think I got the Raymond one. So that's my bad. But you can also look at this, like sort of like his best positions and also his passives if you want to, so that's pretty chill. So here are like these, like his passives that you can select. You can lock them if you want to, but they are pretty pricey, so be careful with that. You don't need them most of the time, but if you want to, you get like a lot of resources, then feel free to do it. Now the second one here is sort of like his moves, as you can see here. I can upgrade it if you want to. So here I can just select this one, I can upgrade it, and then bam, it's upgraded. So I can select this one again. And then here is sort of like a manual, as you can see. So you can give him like a dribble or a shot if you want to. Pretty good if you want to fix some players. Kazemaru. Now, eventually you got the third one over here. This is sort of like your gift ones. What I highly recommend you do is save these items for the connection map players, because some connection map players need some items, so be careful with that. And then eventually, like so, like that's kind of it. You also got like here, like your equipment, as you can see here. If you press this button, you can just like select it. You can see like what every item does, or like what position everyone is. You can also throw them away for these items. Like pretty nice if you have some items that are not useful. If you want to do that, go for it. Third one over here is sort of like your formation of your team. You can also select this one if you want to. But as you can see here, some of them aren't in their original position, so I'm not too sure if it gives you a lot of boost, but we'll see. So the cool thing about the trainers here is that every one of them has a specialty. So here, Hibiki is like more like a Raymond team. And then Ray Dark has like Royal Academy. And this goes on for like every trainer that you can see here. Like this one more in like wind and that kind of stuff. And then you can see like what everyone gets, and then what the players get, as you can see here. And these are upgradable, as you can see. So there are some good ones. Some of them might be better for later, but that's kind of how the game is. Then of course you got all the formation, I already explained what it does. And then you got the home button. Oh yeah, and also I forgot, there's also a filter system, so you can select what kind of teams that you want to select. You also can see some teams are already included but not available at this moment, or I got like one player, so yeah, that's pretty much it. Then like next to the main menu you got like your banners if you want to. So if you want to buy stuff, go for it. I still highly recommend buy from the web store. So over here you got like other items, as you can see here. But yeah, that's kinda it. So I quickly wanted to show you how the web shops works. As you can see, we're on store inazumacross.jp. This is the official website, by the way, so make sure that you use this one. It's also the most recommended one, I would say, because they are cheaper items over here than on the Google or iOS store, because you know, tax and stuff. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that the button on the right, you want to click that, and then you want to click on either of the accounts that you're linked with. It can be Apple or Google, as you can see. So I'm quickly going to log in and see if it's going to work. Now once you are logged in, you can see like your user ID and username and how many diamonds you have for free and also paid. You can see like, you know, the type of stuff that you can use. But yeah, you know, this is basically what you can all buy, you know. So if you're going to buy something, get the limited ones at first, because they are much better compared to the other ones. Especially like this one, like much cheaper compared to this one. If you're going to buy something, I highly recommend either getting the daily passes, either bonus or premium, because once you are going to log in every day, you're going to get a lot of it. I know that the bonus pass is like a free multi once you did all 30 days, but premium, for example, gives 3 multis for free. So if you combine them, you can stack them, by the way. Then you can easily decide to get 4 multis every month if you want to, if you have that type of money. And of course, if you don't have the money, you still want to claim the free tickets over here. But yeah, that's kind of it. Back to the mobile footage. You can also see like here you got sort of like a level 5 ID. I guess it is more like how much you spent, so not really important, just a small reward for supporting the game, I guess. And then finally we got the banners, the main ones over here. And I don't need to explain a lot about these. So at the moment we got paid one, which you can see like the one that are like yellow tagged, those are the premium ones. Then of course you got your event ones, and then you got like your normal ones, so like your general pool. As you can see here, you can see like the rarities of how often you can get players, as you can see. So it is highly recommended that you go for multis, as you can see here, because 2 stars can be really good. But yeah, you can also get like you can also see sort of like with this button, like with you can see like what the banner is. For example, here with Fubuki, for example, you can see like what you can get from him, like a plushie and moves and that kind of stuff. But the third one is pretty interesting because you can see which players you are currently missing. And as you can see here, I got everyone except 3-star Endo, so maybe I get him later, but we'll see. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist of the game. Now the big question is, do I recommend this game? I would say for like an idle game, that's where you just want to relax and see your players just do their things, it's pretty alright. There are some problems, such as at this moment shot blockers are way better than normal defenders, or just well, like shot blockers as in like defenders. So those are better, and also don't rely on autoplay too much, because autoplay does make a lot of mistakes. So one time your team can be really good and other times they don't, so that kind of sucks. But other than that, it's a pretty okay game, I would say. I had a lot of doubts, but it is alright. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the beginner's guide. If you want to see more of the game, I highly recommend subscribing, because I'm going to talk in a few days, I believe in 2 days, about the new banner with the Japanese event of Endo and Kido. If you want to watch that, give us a subscription. If you like the video, give it a like. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Bye bye.